It turns out climbing's actually really cool in VR, so let's learn how to climb. Hopping into the project, you know what the nice thing is? The XR Interaction Toolkit actually has a Climb Interactable now. We used to actually implement it ourselves for climbing, and, well, now they have some functionality for us. So let's see what they provided us. So if we open up samples, go to XR Interaction Toolkit, come down to prefabs, and go to climb, we have a climbing wall and a climbing ladder, and I'm just going to drag those into the scene really quick. Let's kick things off and expand out this ladder and check it out. And you can see here, it's just a simple game object made of cubes that have been elongated. We also have these that have the Climb Interactables on them. You can see that here. And then if we expand it out, you can see it has a bunch of children. And then these children also have capsule colliders on them. But it looks like the nice thing is, as long as the parent object has the Climb Interactable on it, and then the children or the child objects have some form of collider, it looks like it uses that to determine what is going to be the Climb Interactable. And so you don't have to put a Climb Interactable on every single little object, which is really nice. Going over some of the attributes of the Climb Interactable, here it's looking for the interaction manager, which we have over here. So I'm just going to drag that over. And then we have the interaction layer mask, which I'm going to change this to interactable and an interactable ignore array. And if you recall from many videos ago, that's because my XR origin or the XR direct interactors are actually set to that. So let me sneak on over here, and yeah, you'll see over here, interaction group, direct interactor, and then the interaction layer mask. So you see those are set to that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that there. And you know what, just to make sure I don't forget to do it on everything else, I'm going to come over to the top handles down here. I'm also going to set that to the same thing. And then also on the climbing wall, I'm going to go ahead and expand it and find out what it has climbable. There we go. And yeah, I'm just going to set that because if I don't do that now, I'm totally going to forget later. All right, let's get back to the ladder. This has many other attributes that you'd expect out of a interactable, but ones that I really want to point out, you'll see here the select mode they've set to multiple, so you can grab with one or both hands instead of just doing single and being able to swap between the two, but it won't allow you to grab with both hands. So I think that's fine, but you're going to have to test that out and see what works for you. For a climb configuration, it's asking for a climb provider, and so we don't have that in the scene yet. We'll have to put that in a moment. The climb transform, it's just using whatever it is as the default since we haven't put anything there. And then here is a very important one, a climb setting override. You'll see here, this is actually where we can decide how we're going to let the player freely move once they grab onto this. So they can freely move from the X, Y, or Z. And so you'll see for these handlebars that we're climbing up here, that is going to be just on the Y-axis, but really important up here is going to be these top handles. You'll see that it allows Y and Z. And the reason why you want the Z to be able to move over is because normally you'd have a platform here, and so you want the user to be able to grab on, move up, and also forward and backwards so they can get on that platform. Just make sure when you're creating ladders or climbable things, you have something up top that just allows the player to kind of push themselves forward. And you know what, if we come over to the climbing wall, you can see here, there's really nothing crazy going on there. These handle sets, they all just have sphere colliders, and they're just children's of this handle object. And yeah, that's it. So the only thing it looks like we need is the climb provider. So let's go ahead and put that in. Now to put that in, I'm going to put it in our locomotion system, which has our move providers, our turn providers, and I'm just going to create a new one and call it climb provider. All right, and there it is. And let's see here. It's looking for the locomotion system, so I'll drag that here. And then finally on our ladders and climbing wall, I'm going to expand them out again and just make sure we set them up. I'm sure if I booted it up on its own, it would automatically find these, but I don't want to risk that. I'm going to go ahead and just do it myself. All right, let's boot up the scene, see what we have. Now, as you can see, when I come up to the ladder, it highlights, and then I'm able to climb it. Just like that. Pretty easy, pretty simple. And when I get to this top one, I can actually move in the Z direction, so it puts me on top of the ladder, and then I can, well, fall off. I can also climb the climbing wall, so that's working too. Very nice. Now, one thing I want to point out is when I put my hand near this climbing wall, it highlights all of them, and when I select it, it also changes the color on them. So how is that happening? If we come back into the project and we look at the Climb Interactable, you look for something like, you know, is it a hoverable event, and it's not. Actually, what's doing it is this little thing down here called the XR Interactable Affordance State Provider. And we can see here with the click animation configuration, it says select entered. So when we hover into something that we can select, it'll do something. And then also when we activate it. So that's why it's turning blue and orange. But why is it doing that? If we go over to the web page for this, the XR Interaction Toolkit affordance system, you can see here what's happening is it will take the base interactable and it'll monitor its state. So this will say, oh, I've changed state, I'm at this current state, and it'll tell that to the affordance state provider. And then based off that, some kind of thing will change. It'll say, oh, it's at this state, well, then I'll do this to the game objects that I should be doing that to. Now, how does it determine the color? Well, that's based off the affordance theme. So let's find that. If I come in and click affordance theme, double click that, and we can say we have a couple here. And so this is going to be interaction. And so for me, this was all closed, and then you open it and you can see this is where you get all those different colors and states. So if you ever want to change that and you wanted to use this system, this is where you would change the colors, and this is how, well, you use it. And I have to say, it's a pretty little nifty system that they've put in here because it kind of helps you tell your users, well, what's all interactable, and for a climbing wall, that's pretty important so they don't fall off a cliff. And yeah, that is climbing. Simple and sweet. Thanks to XR Interaction Toolkit for having this new functionality. It makes it way easier than implementing it ourselves. And as always, a big shout out to my Patreon members. Without you, I can't do this. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.